Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this little login screen here in React Native. So if you've been watching the other videos, then you know where we're at right now. We have all of our source folder and components, styles, services, all that kind of stuff. We have our assets with our images file folder as well. We have a backend folder, which is empty right now, of course. And then we have our app.js. I'm going to show you guys how to make this little screen right here, which is just an image file, some text, a text box, or two text boxes I guess, and then a little button here that you can kind of customize more, as well as show you how to do a basic function. So to start off, we'll open up terminal, we'll go npx expo start to start our project. Alright, so now that it has started, we can just go ahead and close, or even just let's go back to here. We can just make it a little bit smaller here. Okay, so first things first, let's create a new file in our source inside of our screens. New file. We'll name it login.js. And inside here, we'll do React Native functional export without styles. If you guys don't know what I just did there, if you haven't watched any of the previous videos, it's just a React Native snippet. So it's a extension here. It is called Simple React Snippets. But I'll go through what each thing actually does here. So we can just close that. So first we have our import, so we're importing the view and the text components from React Native. We're also importing React from React Native. You don't have to, but it's usually best to put import React first, just so you don't get any weird issues. So importing React, because React Native is based on the web development program, React, so you're just importing React from React. We also have a function here called const login. Login is our file name, and here's our function right here. So right now we are returning the view component, and inside of the view component there's a text component. We're then closing the view, and then there's the rest of that, and that's ending the login function itself. We are then exporting the login so then our app.js can find it. And then to actually take the app, we don't need this line of code. We can do import login screen, and there it is right there. You just hit enter, it'll automatically import it. We can get rid of the view, and then we can just do login and self-close. Save it. Now up at the top here, let me just style equals margin top 200. As you see here, this is now the login screen. Before it was the app, now it says login here, so we know we're on the right one. We'll just get rid of the styles. So we'll also add another screen here inside of our services. Sorry, not another screen, another file here inside of our services. Just hit new file. We'll name it login styles.js. Import the style sheet function from React Native. You should start seeing it, it'll autofill. And then we can do const login style equals style sheet dot create open close, and then inside of here, after it's done, we again export default login styles so that you can actually access it later on. So what is this doing here? So we're basically creating a variable called login styles. Inside of that variable, we're calling the style sheet function dot create method inside of the style sheet function, which just creates a style sheet. And then inside of here is where we actually put our styles. So let me actually just really quick turn off Copilot. There we go. So we can then put, we'll come back to this one. So we also have, from the previous one, we have global styles here. Inside global styles, we'll create a new style just called container. And inside of container, we will put a flex of 1. We will align content into the center. And that's it. So now when we go back to the login.js and we add in the style function, style equals, open close curly braces, login styles. We'll auto import it up here for you. Not login styles. Global styles dot container. So basically what this does here, why did you not align items? Sorry. There we go, and that centers it. Okay, so all this does here, we're creating a container component, or sorry, not component, a property called container. Inside of container, we are setting the CSS to flex 1, which means it'll take up all of the space that's given to it. We're also aligning items to the center. So before you saw I had align self, so that would assign the container itself. You don't want that, you want to assign the things inside of it to the center. So now we can close this because we're not going to need it again. And we can close app.js, we won't be needing that again either. Let me actually just, there we go. Make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay. So now that we're here, we can now go into the text. Sorry, let me explain this. So we're calling the style component, right? Because this is it right here, the style. So style property equals, and then we're assigning it to the global styles that we imported from here, dot container. So we're accessing the container from within global styles. And now we can also do the same for the login, the text. We'll also just change this to email. Do style, space style equals, open close brackets, login styles dot email text. Save it. We can go into here, into our login styles. Again, hit enter, type email text. Okay, do a little comma here, just so that next time when you go in, you don't have to go through and do it next time. Okay, so now for email text, we will give it a font size of, let's say, 15. Now we'll do 18. We'll also give it a line self. Put it off to the left. Save it. And see, now it's over here. We'll also do a margin top. We'll set it to, I don't know, 200. We'll also put a margin left, so it's not right up against it. We'll set that to, I don't know, 40. Save. So there it goes. Now it's here now. So what these different ones do, so we're setting a font size. It's very explanatory. It's 18. It's align self. So we're aligning the self, the text. We're aligning it to the left side rather than the center. And then we're taking the margin top, which means the distance between the top, kind of like padding, but margins for the outside and not the inside of your little component. We're setting it to 200. 200 is 200 pixels, I believe. Margin left, we're setting to 40, so it's 40 pixels out from the side here. Okay. Of course, if you guys have any CSS experience, you didn't really need to know that. And I assume that if you're doing React Native, you have some sort of experience in development. So I won't go too deeply into the stuff like this. Just more so what is different in React Native. Okay, so now we'll also come up here and do text input. So we're going to import also the text input component from React Native. Come down here and do text input, placeholder, placeholder. We'll set it to email. Please enter your email. Okay, we'll also give it a style. Equals close login styles dot email text input. Okay, and then we'll close it. Sorry, we don't need this little extra bit here. We can self close. Okay, save. So now you see we have this little thing right here, our text input. If we open it up, at the top, if you go to I/O, keyboard, toggle software keyboard, and there it shows up and we can start typing in here. Okay, so we can also close it. We can copy the text input here, go into our login styles, hit enter, put it in, get rid of the comma, add that. We can set it to a width first. Width, I like to use a percentage. You don't have to, but I like to do width as the percentage rather than a number of pixels. Do enter. We can also do border width. We can set it to, I don't know, 5. Too much, way too much. Let's set it to 2. Too much stuff. 1. That's better. Border radius. We'll set it to 100. So now it's nice and circular. We'll give it a padding of 10, so it's not so against itself. We'll also, let's increase the width here to 60%. We'll do 80. We'll do 80%. That looks better. We'll also give it a, we'll give the email text a margin bottom of, we'll do maybe 40 again. Just so that pushes it out a bit. Maybe we'll lower it down a little bit. We'll say 20. That looks better. We'll also give this a little bit more of a margin left, so it adds up nice with our text input. It looks good for the styles for it. Alright, now, in order to save the status that's inside of here, we'll have to do something called a use state. Okay, so we import useState from React. Inside of our login function, come down and do const square brackets email set email is equal to use state empty. That's right. Okay. So then inside here we do value is equal to email. And then to store the value, we do on change text is equal, sorry, on change text is equal to set email. Now we save, and then in here, when whatever you type will be stored inside of that. Okay, so basically what we did here, we made a variable that's an array of email and set email. We're then using a component inside of React Native called useState. So it basically sets a state for the app, so you can change things and store things like that. So inside of the useState, we're setting it to blank to start, right? Because we don't want anything that show inside of the email before we put anything inside. So inside of our text input, we have a placeholder, which will be the stuff that's underneath, that says, please enter your email. We're setting a style here for the email text input. We have value, so the value is whatever you're going to type. We're setting that to email from up here. That way, when you do onChangeText, which is a method inside of text input, so when the change texts, we're doing set email. So it will set it up here, right? So if you were to, let's do console.log email. Let's save it. What is wrong with that? Oh, semicolon. Oh, silly me. Email. Now we save. So now whenever I type here, you can see it shows up inside the log. Because what we're doing is on change text, so each time we hit a letter, it then saves the state of it with set email. And then email is displaying that value, if that makes sense. So we can get back rid of that. We hit save. And now we'll do another text here. Text component, style, equals, login styles, dot password, password, text. You want to make sure you have your variables or your styles or whatever to be pretty obvious as to what they are. So that way when you're going through and looking for them, let's say you have, 40, 50 different views and text inputs and placeholders and stuff like that. You want to make sure that it's easy for you to find them inside of login styles or any of your styles. So here we'll put password, password. Okay, save. So now you can see there's password there. We'll then copy the password text, come up here, paste it, and it will more or less have all of the same styles as email text. So we'll just take it all, paste it in, hit save, and there you go. So of course we don't want it to have the margin top of 200, but maybe a margin top of 20, just so it's a little bit more separate. So now we can go back into here. We can do another text input. And in here, of course, we'll set a placeholder equal to please enter your password. We'll also add in a style of login styles dot password text input, and then we will also add a value. That value will equal password with lowercase, and a on change text will keep set password. So, and then up here we'll add another use state. Sorry, let's just close this real quick with a self close tag. We'll go back up here and do const password set password, and we'll equal it to a use state, and inside that use state we'll have a blank string. So once we save here, okay, so you see it pops up here. Go into the login styles. We will do a password text input, and inside of it we will basically take all of the email input and paste it, because we want it to be pretty much the exact same. So now inside of login, you can see everything we have a text here, and here's the text of email, text input, this is the text input for the email, another text for password, and a text input for the password input. So just a little snippet for you guys here. So in case you're not understanding why I'm not putting capitals at the start, this is called camel case. So for variables or for use states, stuff like that, you want to make sure they're set in camel case, because there's methods or components like this that are fully capital, like a normal one, right? And you don't want to accidentally override a component with another component or one of your own functions. So normally you would do camel case, it's just best practices. Okay, so now we have a pretty basic login screen here. We can do a few things. Let's make it a little bit more special. We're gonna add an image as well, like you would put in like a company logo. So inside of your view, before you go to the email text, we can do an image. Okay, we can do a style for it. Login styles dot logo. We'll also do a source, require, open bracket, and then we will do dot dot slash, oh, put it inside of a quotes, dot dot slash, will bring you back one folder. Again, will bring us to this one. We'll go to our assets, and then we'll just steal the icon.png that is in React Native by default, React Native Expo, sorry, by default. And then we'll do a self-close tag, save it, so it'll auto do that. And you see the image is super big. So of course we want to fix that. So let's go into logo, login styles, up at the very top, so we'll keep things in order. We'll do a style for logo, make sure not to forget that comma. And we'll do a width of, let's say, 150, and a height of 150 pixels. Okay, and let's also do a margin top, and we'll set it to, I don't know, 200 pixels. Save. So of course that pushes everything down, and that's because on email text we have a margin top of 200. So as you can see, if we comment that out and save, it brings everything back up. So we don't want it to be no margin, because you can see it's a little close. So instead of 200, let's do 20. Let's do 50. Yeah, that looks better to me. So we have our logo, we have our email, we have our password, and now how do we log in? Well, that's pretty simple. We're going to use something called a pressable. Now there is a button, and I'll show you the difference between them both. So if we come down to the bottom here, okay, so we'll add in a button first, and you self-close a button. So inside of a button, you have a title, and if we equal that to string, we'll say login. So you can see we have a little button here. You need two things inside of it. You need a title, and you also need an on press function. Equal that, and we'll set it to handle login. Save it. You see property handle login doesn't exist, so we can go back up to the top here, and after our use states we will put a const handle login. We will do equal. Sorry, we will do equals function, open close, and then we will do console.log logged in. Save. So now you can see here, it shows it. If you hit login, inside here, the console, it'll say logged in. So the thing with a button is that there's no styles for it. So you can't really change the location of it. If I wanted to move it down, I'd have to go into here, go into password input, and do margin, bottom, let's say 50. And then it'll push it down. However, you cannot do styles. But if you wanted to change the background of it, let's say, you just do color equals inside the brackets, and then blue. So as you can see here, the color of the login button changed. So if you changed it to white, white will be obvious to know because it'll go invisible. And also change it to black. See, now it's black. But that's about it for actually changing the style of the button. And on Android, it looks much, much uglier because it's just the default button that comes with iOS and Android. But there's another option. You also have something called a pressable. So I'll put them side by side so you can kind of understand them more. Pressable will require a style equals login styles dot login button. It will also require an on press, and again we'll just handle login. You close it. It's not a self-close. You close it yourself. And then inside of it, you can render out a text, an image, anything like that. And then inside of it, you can handle a style to that text. And of course, we will here. Login styles dot login styles dot login button text. And then you just close it, and let's do login, and let's save that. So now you can see here there's another login button. However, we can change how this one looks. So let's grab the pressable. We'll go down into here, into our styles, put it on. Don't forget your comma. And let's change the border, the border width to 1. So now you can see there's a border around it. We can change the border radius. We'll put it at 100 just so it's perfectly circular. See, like that. We can set a padding to, let's do 10. Okay. And then we can do a margin top. And let's do 20. Okay. Let's also do a width up at the top here. Let's do width before the border radius. Add a width. We can set it to, let's do 40%. Let's also align items, and we'll just set it to center. There you go. So now it aligns the login text into the center. We can also do login button text. Open and close. Don't forget your commas. And then inside of a login button text, we can add in a font size of, let's do 18. Okay. We can also do a bold. We can do font weight. We can set it, we can set it to bold. And now it's bold in the button as well. So what else you can do with a login button, we can also do a background color. And we can set it to, let's do blue. I can see the background of the button is now blue. So there's just a lot more that you can do with a pressable rather than a button. So let's just get rid of this button here. Okay, so I think it's still just a little too close to the password input. So let's go back up here. Margin top, we'll set it to 50. That looks better. Okay. We can also do, let's do a logged in with plus email. And we'll do another open bracket. This has to go to a plus. Plus password. So now we save. And when I hit the button here, it'll say it logged in. Oh, well, we don't have anything. So let's do a test email. Test email test at email.com. We'll set our password to password. And when you hit login, now it's logged in with email.com password. So as you can see here, when you're typing in the password, you can see it. Now, if you don't want that to happen, so you would do secure text entry, and you just set it to true. Oh, sorry, you'd set it to true. So then you hit save. It makes it look like a password. so you can no longer see what it says. So now let's just do login. It says test email. Hello there as the password. So that is a super basic login screen. There's many more stuff you can do with the text input, but we'll get onto that on another day. If you guys want to see Firebase in the next video, just let me know down in the comments. Yeah, but that's everything. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me, and if not, have an amazing day.